Anger makes you blind. I'm Steve Harris, but you can call me Rivers. We all have moments we're not especially proud of, moments when we're absolutely certain we're right. We know who did it, we know what happened, we know who's to blame, and then life has a funny way of reminding us that certainty isn't always the same thing as truth. Today's story involves a family dinner, a container of walnut shrimp, one very determined brother, one very fiery daughter, and a lesson my wife summed up in 5 simple words that I've never forgotten. This is the Grandpa Channel. I'm Rivers, and this is what life taught me the hard way. My wife is a terrific cook. I have 7 children that love to eat good food. Each of my children is very opinionated about what kind of food they like to eat, and they are certainly not shy about voicing their opinions. Sunday dinner is one of the highlights of our week. We have tons of fun together eating Jean's food and telling and retelling family stories. One of my favorite things to do as a family is to go out to eat. When we are in the mood for some good Chinese food, we've been known to frequent a local Chinese place, the Asian Star. It's a pretty classy joint. We all love their version of walnut shrimp. In our home, the appellation princess is not necessarily a term of endearment. If one of my daughters is in a snitty, demanding mood, I have been known to refer to her snarkily as princess, as in, what would Princess like me to do? My oldest child, Emily, is quite a gal. My wife and I are not exactly the zippiest people on the planet. I am, in fact, a pretty dull guy. Emily, on the other hand, is fun in a box. She could have fun peeling wallpaper with a spoon. She has an ebullient personality. She loves to travel. She's very witty. She tells a great story, and she loves people. It's very hard not to have fun when she is around. She does have a dark side, though. She can be very feisty, especially when somebody messes with her food. A while back, Emily brought back some leftover walnut shrimp from the Asian Star. Unfortunately for her, she did not put her name on the leftover container that she placed in the fridge. It's an unwritten law in the family that leftover containers without names on them are sort of fair game for the resident Harris foraging bears, my sons. My then 21-year-old son Winston was foraging in the fridge when he spied an unmarked leftover container. Imagine his delight when he pried the clamshell container open and beheld an ample serving of, drumroll please, walnut shrimp from the Asian Star. Winston had to make a quick executive decision. The container was not marked. He loved walnut shrimp. Should he scarf down the delectable walnut shrimp and take a calculated risk that the unmarked shrimp was Emily's and risk her considerable wrath? Tough call. In the end, hunger trumped common sense. Emily was looking forward to a superb lunch the next day of leftover Asian Star walnut shrimp. When she opened the fridge in the morning to take it to work with her, it was nowhere to be seen. Gratefully, I had already left for work when she discovered her walnut shrimp missing in action. She was not pleased, to say the least. She quickly determined that the foraging bear in question was Winston. I'll spare you the gory details, but suffice it to say that she read Winston the riot act later that evening. For Winston, the pain of the confrontation with his fiery sister was greater than the momentary pleasures of the walnut shrimp. Allow me to fast forward a month or two. Winston had not forgotten the tongue lashing his sister gave him. He was looking for an opportunity to get back at her. He is a patient and sometimes cunning child. An opportunity presented itself. Once again, Emily had gone to the Asian Star with friends and brought back leftover walnut shrimp. This time she used up the ink of a black magic marker on the leftover container to tell the world, and especially Winston, that this was her walnut shrimp. I believe there may have been some specific death warnings for Winston on the container. She might have even used a fine-tip permanent marker to mark each of the jumbo shrimp. After Emily hit the sack, Winston sprang into action. He hid the leftover container under a bag of lettuce in the crisper a few inches from where Emily had originally placed her beloved container. Early the next morning, Emily opened the fridge and discovered to her horror that her beloved and much anticipated walnut shrimp had been purloined. She boiled over with rage. Steam was coming out of her ears and eyes like the old-fashioned steam engines of yore. I was upstairs in the master bedroom when I heard her blow. Ooh! She was, of course, absolutely convinced that her brother Winston, the previously guilty foraging bear, was the culprit. Conveniently, Winston had left for school 30 minutes before Emily hastily jumped to judgment. It was quite a show she put on in the kitchen. As the final cherry on the sundae, or as it were, the final candied walnut on the jumbo shrimp, she left a scorching, venomous telephone message for Winston, jam-packed with ominous threats and suggestions that he perform feats that are, I believe, anatomically impossible. Little did my petite 5'0" daughter realize that her beloved walnut shrimp were hidden under a bag of lettuce in the crisper, less than 10 inches from where she initially put the walnut shrimp. I hate it when that happens. Eventually, the purloined shrimp were found. Emily felt a tad stupid for blowing sky high, and Winston savored the taste of sweet revenge served up Cantonese style. He also enjoyed playing Emily's Szechuan hot telephone message for friends, family, and public transportation users. My sainted wife has a way of boiling things down to their very essence. At the end of the day, we found ourselves up in our bedroom laughing about the walnut shrimp incident. We both found it highly ironic that the very object of Emily's affection, the scrumptious shrimp, was a mere 10 inches from where she originally put it. My wife, a wise and wonderful woman, made a very pithy and astute observation. Anger makes you blind. There you have it. Anger causes temporary blindness. When you are angry, you do not see things as they really are. You don't see the walnut shrimp. Prolonged anger can cause prolonged or even permanent blindness. My daughter now has a nickname, the Asian Princess, and the Harris family has yet another story to add to its growing collection of Sunday dinner stories we love to rehash as we break bread together around the Sunday dinner table. Remember, anger makes you blind. Care for some walnut shrimp? Looking back, the walnut shrimp was never really the story. The story was how quickly certainty became judgment, and how judgment made it impossible to see what was right in front of us. My wife put it better than I ever could. She said, anger makes you blind. I think that's true far beyond a container of leftover Chinese food. It happens in marriages, in families, in friendships, in neighborhoods, sometimes even in the way we see ourselves. When we're angry, we stop looking, we stop listening, we become convinced we've already found the answer. Maybe the next time we're certain we're right, it's worth taking one more look. You never know. The walnut shrimp might only be 10 inches away. If you'd like to sit with this a little longer, there's another conversation this week about how the stories we tell ourselves shape what we're able to see. And if you'd like a place to reflect on stories like these a little longer, we've got a place for that too.